Boker Tov. Breakfast for the remainder of the week for today, tomorrow, and Friday has been sponsored by my wife and myself, Leilui Nishmat Ben Somen Moshe, Devorah Bat Chanukah, Yehuda Ben Ephraim, and Chana Bat Avraham. Baruch Hashem Tenicham Eden. Please make brachot in their Ilui Neshama. We began yesterday the Halachot Teshuva from the Rambam. We introduced the concept of Vidduy, explaining that that's the mitzvah in the entire process. Now Rambam continues and explains Ketzad mitvadeh. How do we do this verbal confession? We explained that it's integral. The mitzvah is when you do Vidduy devarim. Rambam now asks and defines for us, how do you do this verbal confession? Omer, the person says, Ana Hashem, Ana Adonai, Chatati, Aviti, Pashati lefanecha. So we'll loosely translate them, and then we'll translate these three words again momentarily. I sinned, I committed iniquities, and I another synonym for sin against you, Hashem, lefanecha, before you. Ve'asidi kach v'kach, and I did such and such. V'arnichamti uboshti b'ma'asai, and therefore I am embarrassed and disgraced for what I did. Ul'olam eni chozer ladavar zeh. And I will never. I never plan on returning to this sin, to this misconduct that I did. And he continues, Zeh hu ikaro shel vidduy. This is the fundamental, the bare and bones, the minimum requirement of the vidduy. V'chol hamarbe leitzvadot ularich b'inyan zeh harizeh mishubach. And anyone who spends more time on the vidduy and lengthens it and is more accurate and more detailed is praiseworthy. So there's a few things to quickly address in the few minutes that we have. First and foremost, we clarified three terms: chatati, aviti, pashati. And our ana, when we begin, before we say it in the Hilchot and after the Amidah, we also have this, what we do in the Lashon Rabim, in plural. Chatanu, avinu, pashanu. Same word as chatati, aviti, pashati. Same idea. What's the difference of these three categories? First, chatati is beshogeg. Sins that I did out of negligence. Whether it was an accident, or I didn't know, or I wasn't thinking. Negligence meaning if you were more careful or you knew more, you could have prevented from doing the sin. That's the category of chatati. Then it's aviti. Aviti is someone who sins knowing that it was wrong, but he had a temptation that he couldn't overcome. He knew this wasn't appropriate, he knew this action wasn't nice, but he couldn't overcome that desire, that temptation. That's aviti. And pashati is bemered, is chas v'shalom alenu, someone who does it in spite of God. So I'll give a quick example that Rabbi Chaim always gives for what's the difference between these three. Someone's flying to Israel. Okay? They're on Delta, not El Al. They didn't know. They only flew El Al. They didn't know the Delta, you have to ask for the kosher meal. So they get served the meal, and accidentally they ate the meal. They had no idea that you have to ask for kosher. That's chatati. That's beshogeg. It was negligent. He could have asked and made sure, but he accidentally ate from the non-kosher food. That's chatati. What's aviti? Aviti is, the stewardess says, I'm sorry, sir, we ran out of kosher food. We have this option. Okay, I'm so hungry, there's still 10 hours to go, I'm so thirsty, I'm dehydrated, whatever it is, and he eats the food. He knew it was wrong, but he had a desire and a temptation, he couldn't overcome that desire. That's aviti. And pashati, sir, we have the kosher meal and the non-kosher meal. Give me two of the non-kosher meal, in spite of God forbid. I don't even want to say the words, but down with that religion, give me the non-kosher dish. That's pashati. That's the worst of the three. Chatati, aviti, pashati. That's the difference between these three. We'll continue explaining these in depth tomorrow. B'ezras Hashem, have a wonderful day.